All right. Well, we're here with head coach Bernie Thompson with the Union Local Jets and getting ready to kick off the 2024 season, man. It's pretty crazy that it's already August 2nd and we're just a couple weeks away from football. But how are you, man? How's the summer been and your off season and just everything going on?
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me. Yeah, summer's been really well. Boys have been working extremely hard. We've really taken pride in our off season weights and programs, and this thing's really kicked off in January, just trying to get back to it. So really, the summer heats up. We've had some 7-on-7s. Numbers are good right now, so we're in a good place. We're excited with where we're at entering August because of the June and July.
Where did you go for 7-on-7s? Who did you get to compete against and just kind of, see what you have with your guys?
Sure. Yeah. No. So we spent an evening out at Buckeye Trail. Buckeye Trail. Coach Johnny Kern does a great job out there. So we
Mm-hmm.
went out there, threw the ball around a little bit. Had the Bridgeport Bulldogs come to town one day and kind of hosted them for a 7-on-7. But more or less just focusing on our craft. I mean, that's what I've been big with this year. We got some upperclassmen in our skill levels, right? So really just honing in on what we do and what we do well, and just trying to rep that as a team. So really for us this year, it's more or less the opposite of last year. Last year we were experienced in our line play.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're kind of a little bit young in our line play and more experienced in our skill position.
Yeah, for sure. Now, quarterback competitions are always really fascinating to me, and I think especially so in your case with your team, just because you've got two really good ones. And Isaiah Tomolonis last year, he kind of went down with that injury, and then you had Colby Carpenter step in, and he played really well as a sophomore. Kind of midway through the season on, and led you to the playoffs. But I'm sure it's a tough spot that you're in, having both of those guys. Like Isaiah's really talented with his legs, and obviously he can throw it too. But then, Colby played really well. I mean, what do you make of like that competition that you've seen this summer?
Sure. I think it's a unique position to have two really talented quarterbacks on your team in high school, right? And we're trying to look at it from a positive standpoint, um, and we're really trying to play to the strengths. And you said it. Isaiah is a phenomenal athlete. Isaiah is one of the best athletes on the team. He runs well. He's got a big arm, throws great one-on-one balls. So we're going to try to put Isaiah in the best position that suits him. And then where Colby comes into play, where he kind of really took a lot of people, by storm last year. I mean,
Yeah.
he stepped in as a sophomore and played week one. So we learned a lot about him in week one. And then Isaiah came back and played up until week 6 until he broke his collarbone. And Isaiah played
Hmm.
well. And insert Colby, didn't know what he was going to do. And before you know it, he's slinging the ball around. So we gained a lot of trust in him. And that's what he does. He's a good pocket passer. He's not as mobile as Isaiah, but he throws a good ball. So again, just
Hmm.
trying to play to their strengths and communicating with them day one. I mean, to me and our staff, communication is everything. Letting the boys understand that like there really isn't a QB1 on our team. Like you both can play and you both will play and you'll both have specific packages that suits you and the team. So just for them to be aware of that, I think is the most important thing.
That's what I was just going to ask you, is because it's great to have two talented quarterbacks on your team, but then there's also the saying of if you have two quarterbacks, you have none, and I guess there's debate about two quarterback systems and whether they work or they don't work. So I was going to ask your viewpoint on that, but it seems like it's pretty clear that you want to use both of these guys this year, and you maybe have packages with both of them on the field at the same time potentially, or like what is that? What is your plan? I guess what does that look like for you?
Plans to be blunt and honest with them. They're both going to play, right? And
That's fair.
I think the one thing with the only difference there is when Colby's a quarterback, Isaiah will still be on the field, right? Somewhere.
Right.
Running back, receiver, utilize him as an athlete. Whereas if Isaiah is the quarterback, that kind of knocks Colby maybe more or less off the field. So we're just trying to balance both of, hey, you're both really good. How can we get our best 11 on the field, right? So, and again, I think that falls on coaching. I think it falls on having the right formations, the packages to utilize their skill set. And two, we preach our golden rule is be a good teammate, right? So it doesn't matter who's a quarterback; they're going to cheer each other on. They're going to be there for each other, and just the
Hmm.
whole, how high school drama can be, and just that
Sure.
national competition. And we want to compete against Southern Local week one, but with us, we're going to compete with each other.
Yeah, for sure. Now, how about Dre Saunders, your wide receiver, Brody at running back? I mean, they both had really good years. Brody is a freshman, 1,000 yards rushing, and Dre, it seemed like he had a really good connection, especially kind of back half of the year with Colby once Colby was inserted in at quarterback. I mean, those guys are really dynamic last year. What are your expectations for those guys and how they fit into the offense with Isaiah and Colby?
They're both going to have a huge year. And the reason why is because they both put a ton of work in the off season. Dre's one of the most special kids I've been around. He really is. He's got an unbelievable knack to catch the football and get open and make plays. And his skill set really it's second to none. So I think if we can put him in the right position and create one-on-one matchups for him and use him maybe more or less in emotion, and just put him in the best, I guess, position to go make plays and go do what Dre does, right? I don't at this point in the game, I've been with Dre for four. This is gonna be the fourth year now, and I hold him to a high standard, right? I coach him up big time, but I also know he's very talented, so we just got to go let him play. And and Dre's looked great with both quarterbacks. I mean, both quarterbacks have done a great job with him in the offseason, just running routes and looking the part. And Brody, on the other hand, Brody, doing what he did as a freshman, that's rare. I would have
Mm-hmm.
liked for 1,000 yards as a freshman. Um, and I compliment that to just his work ethic. He's one of the hardest workers on the team. He's a wrestler. He's an all-state wrestler, so he's got that background there where he doesn't shy away from the work. And he knows he's got big expectations this year, right? So, and it's one of those things where last year we really could rely on our 4-year starters up front, Johnny Sabinski, Alex Beaver, and Evan White, our linemen. They played all 4 years where they're not there. Now we have some
Mm-hmm.
guys in Mason Porter and Nick Grove and Danny Goodson who are now the seniors on that line. But Brody knows he's going to have to do his part to help those guys out.
Now, what about on the defensive side of the ball? Because we know how talented you are on offense with those guys that we've talked about, but defensively, I mean, I'm sure some of them are two-way players and whatnot. But
Yeah.
what does it look like on the defensive side of the ball for you?
Again, I think our strength is in our secondary, right? I think we have some athletes back that can really guard the ball. Um, and two, our linebackers, right? I'm really excited to watch our linebackers this year. So Logan Hess and Peyton Cosby are both our inside backers. They've been playing for 4 years now, really stepping up and having a great offseason. They're leading our defense. So I really think those two are going to come into their own and just, cause havoc for offenses this year. Um, and then up front, right, you got to replace those three guys I mentioned on the offensive side. Now you got some guys playing both ways, but I do believe we have some guys that are really going to stand up this year. Danny Goodson, a defensive end, I'm super excited for him. He's one of the toughest kids I've been around. Just a great competitor. Nick Grove on the inside, our interior, and Mason Porter and Connor Kovacs. I mean, kids who have a ton of potential, right? And then a kid like Brody Kearns, who is a freshman, just like Brody Perzanowski, would have made a big impact for us last year, but got hurt, has a knee injury. So get him healthy. He can play another defensive end spot. So
Mm-hmm.
again, like maybe not your household names that people are used to because we had a great senior class graduate, but kids with a ton of potential that put in the work.
Yeah, and it seems like you still have quite a few upperclassmen, this year that are stepping into these starting spots now. Does this kind of, I mean, obviously you want every year to be like the year, but does it kind of feel like this year, especially with the development of your skill guys and some of the other guys that you mentioned that, I mean, you guys were 6-4 last year in the regular season, that maybe this is the year that you take that big step, in the Buckeye 8 to compete with teams like the Harrison Centrals and the St. Clairsvilles and the Barnesvilles and really make a push in the Buckeye 8 and then especially maybe make a deeper run in the playoffs.
And that's a great point, Will. And I think every year you want to do that. And I think this year, yeah, no, to your point, we have the guys. There's no reason why we can't. So we train to compete against St. Clair's. We train to compete against our rival. Harrison got the best of us last year. So yeah, absolutely. That's what we trained for, to win those type of games. And I think a Union local, 2 years ago, we were flirting with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We lost the back half of those games and just really couldn't finish. For this past year, we won a few of those back half games, right? Those close games, those 50-50 games went our way. So now we're really close. And I do believe if we stay the course and stay healthy, um, and just continue to build each game, because football is a funny game, man. It's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? And an injury here or there can change the whole outlook. So I really don't look at it from a sense of like, hey, this can be our year to be the best we've been in a while. No, I think we have the potential, if we take it day by day, to be really good. And whatever that really good is at the end of the year, we'll see. But no,
Yeah.
I'm very proud of just the program and the weight room and the expectations now at Union Local is to year in and year out, let's go.
Yeah, yeah, and then you just let the cards fall where they may, and just see where it lines up near the end of the year and into the playoffs. But Coach, thanks for taking time out of your day, man, to hop on a podcast and talk some Union Local Jets football for 10 minutes, man. This is great, and
Yeah.
best of luck this year. You guys got a lot of talent returning, and I'm really excited to watch you guys. So thanks again, and best of luck this year, and hopefully you guys make a big push in the Buckeye 8 and in the playoffs.
Yeah. Hey, we love Storied Rivals. We appreciate you guys having us. You guys do a phenomenal job, man. Your videos week in and week out fire us up. So we love it. I know the community loves it as well. So appreciate you having me.